Hi, I'm Chuck Dorsett for Weaver Leather Supply, and this is the Leather Element. If you've got a good question for us or a good idea for a leather element, drop it in the comment box below. Also, if you want to know when our videos release, just click your notifications. You'll know exactly when these come out. So at first glance, I really didn't feel like this was quality content for a video until I figured out that I spend time in my shop every day trying to find a simple C-clamp. These can be such a help. In fact, I think we have 10 uses for these in this video. But for those of us who are new and those of us with a little more experience, this can be a big help, and we're going to start right there. Space is always an issue if we're new at Leathercraft. Most likely we're working on a small desk in the corner of a spare room. I've got a big shop. I still clamp a lot of my tools down. Little wonder, perfect example. We can do so much with this, but here's the problem. With this, I'm typically making belts, adding spots or line 24s. Well, now I need 3 or 4 feet on either side of this tool. I just don't have the table space to dedicate to one tool. How about we do this? Let's keep this tucked away when we need it. Let's pull it out, C-clamp this to our table, and notice, incredibly sturdy. Well, now we can use it, we can tuck it back. We're not taking up valuable table space. Right here, I've got this bolted to a board. If I need to sink something deeper, like into maybe a pouch pocket, well, now I can pull this out, C-clamp it, and I've got ample room. Now on the clamps, I find that the largest is the most helpful to me, simply because a lot of my work tables are thicker. They're pretty sturdy. The mediums are not bad, and we'll see a couple of spots for those. But in all honesty, the smallest, these really aren't that much of a help. Okay, number 2. We see this in most every video where we hand sew. I like to C-clamp my pony to my table. Well, technically, this is made to sit on. That keeps it very stable, and it keeps our work right in front of us. The downside, if we're working on something like a rifle scabbard or a briefcase, that simply doesn't give us room. Let's clamp this to our table. Now, I like to sew standing up. I've got better reach, better upper body strength, and better vision. But a great thing here with our clamps, we can clamp this to our work table in all kinds of configurations. The point there, let's be comfortable when we hand sew. There's some legitimate debate out there whether a drilled hole or a punched hole is a better hole. Well, in my opinion, it's the punched hole. But if I've got to drill a lot of rivet holes in a number of pieces, I'm just going to drill these. Now, what's going to be a big help here? Let's drop in a metal plate. Let's drill through the plate. Then we'll drill our pieces. That's going to shear off the back, give us a good hole front and back. So right there, I said the small clamps aren't a big help. Well, actually, they are. I'm going to use 2 there. It's easy to move around because you can tell I'm using different size holes. Makes the whole thing very easy and very stable. Next up, number 4 and number 5. We've seen this in one of our videos. It's just a simple wood table to go around the cylinder arm on my cub. Just makes sewing flat things a good bit easier. But it's a real headache to take this on and off. So how about just a couple of C-clamps? That is extremely sturdy. And again, easy on, easy off. Now on our cub, we've got to bolt this down. But we can certainly use C-clamps to clamp it down to figure out where we want it. We can put this in a couple of different configurations. Now, one cool thing though, when you get a cub, it's going to come bolted to a good piece of board. Now, they're going to use carriage bolts on the back. They stick up a little bit. So let's add 4 feet, 8 to 9 ounce veg. Now we have an absolutely mobile sewing machine. We can take this anywhere. And I never thought I'd say this. We've got a sewing machine we can take on a camping trip if we want to. And one technically already counted, but clamps holding down my easy edge. These things are everywhere. It's a little bit hard to get all of this in the camera shot, but here's the general idea. I love the clamp lights or the bell lights. They're inexpensive, mobile, and I can dump a lot of light on my work surface. So let's take a piece of wood. In fact, this is a riser, safe for deck railing. We can find this at any hardware store. It's inexpensive. Let's clamp our light on that. Then down here, let's use our C-clamps. We may not have a place where we can bolt that on, but also now it's adjustable and movable. One more. When I'm working with tracing film, I'm working with a pencil and a pencil sharpener. I can tell you I've taken out some of these with a side of leather. So if we're working on patterns or designs, let's just C-clamp that down to our table, sharpen as need, but then tuck that away, keep it safe. If we're going to cut straps, the first thing we've got to do, bust a straight edge in our leather. If we're going with a double shoulder or like a side, that's a long cut and it's got to be clean. Now, I'm pretty comfortable doing that freehand, but if we're not, what we can do is take our straight edge with 2 C-clamps. Let's clamp that down on the leather. In fact, I see a lot of saddle makers do this because they're dealing with much thicker weights and they've got to have a clean cut. But now, my straight edge and my leather, nothing moving, everything stable. We can't help but get a good clean cut on that. Okay, next up, number 8. Most of us leather workers are not woodworkers. We respect their craft, absolutely, and I know the feeling's mutual, but here's where I'm going with this. From time to time, we need to make pieces and parts, tables for our shop. Great example, this is our pattern table. I didn't design this to hold any weight, just for working on patterns. But not being a woodworker, it's a little bit flimsy. That's irritating. So what I've done is with 2 C-clamps, I've clamped that to my main very sturdy work table. So now that's actually a pretty sturdy table. All right, number 9, because we're almost there. If you ever use a C-clamp on your wet forms, you are going to get some serious bends on those. If my math is correct, and I sometimes question that, but I think we're at 9. So one more, absolutely. I like to C-clamp my camera monitor onto the cart just to keep it from taking a big spill, because in my shop, it absolutely would. I hope there's something in here that's going to help you out in your shop. Thanks for taking time to watch The Leather Element. Good luck with your projects.